Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 31st of October 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's morning session. Welcome to the last trading day of this month. Yep, as always, guys, before we jump into the charts, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also before we jump into the charts, a quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel here, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we update on a daily basis. You can visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab up here, and then it will take you to our little research page, which we update on a daily basis, as I said, and I believe you can find some useful stuff here. But for now, guys, let's jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the FTSE100. Now, looking at this index here, we can see that it continues to balance slightly below this 7,351.50 zone. We do like setups like this because, as you can see, it's kind of climbing. It is slowly climbing higher here after its reversal to the upside in the beginning of October. It's trading above this little tentative upside support line taken from the low of the 3rd of October. But at the same time, it's struggling to push above the 7,351 zone. This just makes this barrier a very, or let's say, more attractive for the buyers, because if this suddenly gets broken, this could lead with a be broken with a pop basically, and could lead the index further north. Further north, we'll target only the 7,440.41 zone, which is near the high of the 30th of September. And or should I say near the high of the 27th of September. We will aim for that, and we'll keep an eye on this one, because this is the area where it could stall initially, and then we could see maybe a bit of a correction here back down. So that's why for now we're just gonna keep an eye on this level here. We're gonna keep it short and simple. We'd rather have a look at it if we get a break above this. We'll have a look at it then. We'll see if this wants to travel higher. If it gets stalled around here, if it doesn't, that's fantastic news for the buyers. We could see this one pushing further north. But for now, excuse me. For now, the main question here is, can the index here break the 7,351 zone? If it can, then this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and yep, it could open the path towards higher levels. In terms of the downside, now I do have this level here. This is 7,251.52 zone marked here. I do understand if, let's say, this suddenly, let's say, reverses earlier and starts dropping below this, there would still be above this this tentative upside line. Now, that said, in a way, looking at the current price action, in a way, we could see a bit of maybe movement sideways here, and probably by the time it could decide to move lower, it would start breaking both of these, this key area of support near the 7,250.52 area, and of course this upside support line. And if both of these get broken, then yep, further declines could be possible. We'll initially aim only for the 7,140, and then we'll have a look at the index then again. Quickly jumping into another index, a slightly different one, and that's DXY. So I've mentioned this one recently, basically, and it continues to trade, or should I say, it was trading nicely below this little downside resistance line, and taken from the high of the 1st of October. And yesterday you can see that the spike here higher managed to test this downside line, but this downside line held the rate down perfectly. And you can see now the kind of after that the index retraced back down and started falling and broke this little other tentative upside support line. So on one hand, everything's not really looking good here for DXY. We could see this one drifting further south, but the only thing is that, as I mentioned previously as well, in order for us to get excited about further declines, a drop below the 97.28 zone here, as you can see, yesterday it got, or should I say this morning, it got tested and acted as a fantastic area of support. So that was last time tested on the 24th of October. So we need to see a drop below this first before we could get comfortable with further declines, and then we will aim for the 97.14 area around here. But if that fails to withhold, then yep, we could be seeing DXY falling below the lowest point of October, and that's, like I said, this 97.14, and then we could aim for the 97 zone, so roughly around there. But again, for now, it's a very interesting one, at the same time tricky. So yes, we did have a nice slide here. We broke this upside line, tentative of course, but still an upside line, but we failed to drop below this one of our key important support levels, so near the 97.28. So in a way, what could happen here is something like this potentially. Let me just quickly draw this one. So in a way, we could see something like this happening here. Don't get me wrong, it might not happen. This is just an idea for now because it's a very tricky one. So probably it's easier to just wait for a drop below the 97.28 and only then try to consider further declines, because this move, this potential retracement back up could be a bit of a risky one. So that's why, guys, just kind of keep your own heads on your shoulders and keep your eyes, of course, keep your eyes on this possibility. But again, if it doesn't travel higher here, then it could start breaking the 97.28 level straight away, and then we will aim for the 97.14 zone. I do understand it's quite, it's not far from here, but it's a very strong area of support. So keep your eyes on this one. In terms of the upside, for us to get comfortable with higher levels, a push above the 97.90 zone would be needed, and only then we will target higher levels. So that's why, guys, keep your eyes on some of these levels. AUDUSD, so fantastic movement overnight. Overall, the pair is trading above a few upside lines. So the first one is being the ones that taken the short-term upside line taken from the low of the 2nd of October. Tentative one, of course, but that's still kind of it could be a nice potential line if this pair decides to start retracing lower. Something to consider, of course, later on. But for now, from the even more shorter-term perspective, we can see that there's another upside support line, also tentative, but this one's taken from the low of the 16th of October. So for now, after we had this nice pop here through the 0.6883 zone, we traveled further north. We've tested the 0.69 territory and pushed further up again. So the way everything's shaping up right now here is that we are going to be targeting now the 0.695455 territory, which is around let me just quickly adjust this, guys, very quickly. This should be around here. There we go. So that's around 0.6955, 54, 54 probably more. Bear with me one moment, guys. It's not picking up. Is it picking up? There we go. So yes, 55. There we go. 0.6955 levels. So that's what we're going to be targeting here. That's basically at the high, or should I say, an intraday swing high of the 25th of July. Keep your eyes on this one. Again, don't get me wrong. From the very short-term perspective, we are quite maybe overbought a little bit, so we did have a nice steep uprise here. The only thing is that what could happen here is that we could still travel a little bit higher, maybe today, maybe test the 0.6941 zone 40 territory around today's R2, and then retrace back down. So do not exclude this possibility, because as you can see, the pair did try to move below its R1, and this is, and we're talking about, this is early morning right now, so it did try to move below this below the R1, but you can see that the bulls kind of pushed it back above it quickly. So in a way, there is a chance for this one to travel higher, maybe test the R2, which is around the 0.6940, then correct back down, and then we'll take it from there, because still we will be targeting our 0.6955. But let's say there could be something like that. There could be possibility that we may see a test of the R2, and then we could see a nice correction back down. If the as long as the rate kind of continues to trade above this upside line, we will remain positive. Or even, let's say, if it, even better, if it continues to trade above the 0.69 zone, yes, we will remain positive and continue targeting the upside. But if it suddenly starts dropping below this steep upside line taken from the low of the 16th of October, and falls below the 0.6845 zone, then, well, this could turn out to be very interesting for the sellers, because we could see a drift lower, and this is where we will consider this upside line here that I talked about earlier on, and that's the one taken from the low of the 2nd of October, and then we could see a possible move towards that line. So basically, for now, guys, long story short, yes, we are targeting the upside. We will be aiming for the R2, but if it holds, we could see a nice correction back down here. And for the downside, for us to get comfortable with lower levels, this is what we need. We need to see a drop below the 0.6845 zone, and like I said, then we will aim for slightly lower levels. Quick mentioning of NZDJPY. So I looked at this one recently as well. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but just wanted to kind of run it by you and say that we had a nice push above this 69.47 level. That's wonderful. We've managed to get almost managed to get a test of the 69.9695 territory. And let me just quickly double check something, guys, because this is something that we've posted here on our JFD account here on TradingView. I believe that if this was one of the, yes, there we go, that was one of those. That was done on the October 17th. So yes, that was wonderful. That was a good test here. You can see that how well this played out. So basically now what we're gonna do here is we're gonna wait, because at this point, this is what I was I'm sometimes afraid of getting myself into a range here, and this is, for now, it seems to be something like this. So in a way, yes, we did have a nice move here higher, but given that this level here, this 69.95, 96 zone, it could be a nice, good, strong area of resistance. We may see maybe a small correction back down, and if it starts dropping back below the 69.47, then we could maybe see a retest of the lower side of this range, and yep, we could see ourselves some sort of sideways activity here for a while. So that's why, guys, for now, in terms of the downside, we will take a very conservative approach, and we'll wait for a drop below the 69 level before examining lower areas. But for those who are more on the riskier side, you could start looking at the at this level here, the 69.47. If we see a drop below this, then yep, there could be a chance for this one to drift lower. The only thing is that, don't get me wrong, we could see a hold up near these EMAs here, near the 21 or the 50 EMA, shown as the red line, the 51, and we could see maybe a nice reversal to the upside. So again, but that's why I'm saying that this is the level where we will get a little bit more comfortable with the downside. Here, it's a little bit of a risky one, but for this one, you would need to have a very tight stop loss just in case this suddenly reverses and pushes higher. But again, that's in terms of the downside. In terms of the upside, well, because we're getting close to the 69.95, 96 zone, we need to see a nice good pop above it before examining higher levels. So in a way, if we do get this move and we do get a break above the 69.95, 96, then of course we will aim for another potential target here that we've got, and this is this little high near the 70.09 level. I do understand it's very close here, but it also could be a nice strong area of resistance. Keep an eye on it. But if that fails to withhold, now this is where it could become very interesting for the buyers, and we could then travel a little bit higher again towards this little low of the 18th of June, and that's near the 70.27. So we'll keep it short and simple, guys, because we are approaching some strong areas of resistance. So that's why we're not gonna drag this one too much to the upside for now. Jumping into USD CAD very quickly, so a quick update on this one. I talked about this yesterday, and this is what I was talking about. Basically, we managed to get a nice pop above the 1.31 zone. And this is what I was talking about on my traders tea time, and we were popping higher, and we were hanging around here somewhere basically during the tea time. And what I was saying, that there is a possibility for this one to travel further north. Initially we'll target this 1.3166. We got that. Then we'll what I was saying, that we will target the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. So we also got a test of that, but even we had an overshoot above that, and almost managed to reach, or actually, I do apologize, almost managed to reach the 1.3212 territory, which is the high of the 17th of October, but the pair basically got stalled just slightly above the 1.32 zone and then retraced back down. Now the pair is kind of is sitting above its pivot, today's pivot, which is around the 1.3147, 48. For now, we're going to keep an eye on this one because there is still possibility for this one to push to the upside again. From the technical side, we can see that on looking at this 4-hour chart, we can see that the pair is forming somewhat of a nice bullish flag here, a potential flag, but how you could play this one out is, of course, we will adjust this level here a little bit. We will keep an eye on this little this intraday swing high near the 1.3185, because of course the much better one would be around here, but that's a bit too far. We may miss out on some moves. So if this pair decides to rebound from this pivot, and or should I say continues to trade above this pivot, today's pivot, then we could see a push higher. But for those who are more on the cautious side, wait for a push above the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart, and a push above the 1.3185, 86 zone, and then we could target higher levels. We could even aim for the 1.3240 territory around here. And let me just quickly put an arrow. So basically this would be our main scenario. We will aim for the yesterday's highs, of course, as well. But if those fail to withhold, then yep, the 1.3240 zone could be a nice target. But again, probably wait for a bit, because again, we had a nice rally here yesterday. If this starts climbing higher and pushes above the 200 EMA, then yes, it increases the chances of a further move higher. But if it struggles to get above this area, above the 200 EMA, then it could become a little bit more complicated for the bulls here. I'm not saying that the bears would start joining in, but probably could start ranging a little bit here until it decides where exactly it wants to go. In terms of the downside from the short-term perspective, what you could look at here is this little low here, or should I say today's low, near the 1.3145. A drop below this could send the pair a little bit lower here towards the 1.31 zone, and this is what we're going to be targeting initially, and then we'll take it from there. See what he wants to do. If it wants to travel further down, that's good news for the sellers, but if it doesn't, then yep, we'll keep an eye on the pair around here. GBPJPY, also quick mentioning of this, and this is what I just wanted to quickly update you on this. I talked about this yesterday in my videos, and basically we are having ourselves a nice triangle here, and for now we're waiting this basically triangle here, or should I say maybe a bit of a wedge here. We're waiting for a clear pop through one of the sides before we could examine a further directional move. So basically for now, a good news is that it's trying to move above its 140.55 1.4 zone, but it would still need to overcome the upper side of the of this veg. And if it does, the next target to watch is going to be the current highest point of October near the 141.51 zone. And this could be quite interesting because we are in the last trading day of this month. So in a way, we could expect some big swings here. And in a way, if this pops to the upside, then most likely it would be, or I wouldn't actually say most likely, but it would be quite interesting to see if we would create a new kind of small little high, a new higher high for October. So that's why, guys, keep an eye on this one. It could be quite interesting. And if it gets a nice pop here, then yep, we'll aim for the highest point of October near the 141.51. If it breaks, then yep, a new high for October could be set. Doesn't matter if it then retraces back down. Still, this is what initially could happen. We've seen these things happening so many times. It makes a new high, but then actually still closes below the previous high the previous high, basically. So that's why, guys, for now, keep your eyes on this one. It's quite interesting. If this suddenly starts reversing back down, a drop below the 1.31, 131.44 zone, somewhere around here, could in a way open the path towards lower levels, and we could then target areas around the near the 200 EMA. But again, for now, it's closer to the upper side of the veg. Let's see if it can break that one. GBP/EUR, the same story here. Keep an eye on the potential breakout points. Still for us, those breakout points for the upside are the 1.1615, and for the downside is the 1.1550 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. And the last pair for this session is EURUSD. So I talked about this one yesterday, and this is what I was talking about. So basically, we had our nice pop here to the upside. We've tested the downside line, and this is what I was saying. If it holds, we could see a nice rejection here and another slide lower. But if it starts breaking and the rate pushes above the 1.1154 zone here, then there is a good chance we could see this one pushing higher. And in a way, it seems that the pair is aiming for the current highest point of October near the 1.1183. If it manages to overcome that, then that's good news for the buyers. I mean, this is a new high for October, and we could see this one drifting further north. Of course, we'll be very careful here because yesterday there was a steep upside move here, so in a way, a bit of correction could be possible as well. But for now, everything's kind of leaning more towards the upside, and in a way, we are going to be aiming for the 1.1183. We'll see how it performs around there. But if it gets a nice break above it, then yep, this is a new high for October. For us to start considering the downside, well, we'll keep this downside line here, this tentative downside line taken from the high of the 18th of October. We'll keep an eye on it. If the rate starts falling below it, then yep, it could be a chance for the bears to step in here and drive this one lower. Okay, guys, I really hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching it till the end. I kind of ran a little bit over my time, but if you want to join me later on at my traders tea time here at 14:15 GMT, as always, yep, like I said, guys, 14:15 GMT. Please join me at my traders tea time. We'll have a look at some of these pairs again, some new instruments. But in general, I hope you have a fantastic trading day. Be very careful. Don't forget that this is the last trading day of the month, so we could see a bit of volatility. So that's why, guys, and keep an eye on the news on the economic calendar as well. Okay, thank you very much, and bye-bye.